What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. Joe Rogan made quite the splash over the weekend with his latest hot take regarding video games being a complete waste of time. And as easy as it would be for me to make a video talking about how awful that take is and slamming Joe Rogan because he's just so off base with it, there are some good points he makes, and he's not entirely wrong. Sometimes video games, for some people, is a complete waste of time.
Video games are a real problem. They're a real problem. You know why? Because they're fucking fun.
Addictive.
And you don't, yeah, well, I have a real problem with them. And you do them, and they're real exciting, but you don't get anywhere. Right. It's like you could do, like martial arts, right? You could learn jujitsu. You get obsessed by jiu-jitsu, and then 3 years later, you're like an elite jiu-jitsu athlete. You're entering in competitions. You're a purple belt.
You're moving up.
Yeah, you're doing well. Right. You're thinking, like, I might be able to open my own school one day.
You got confidence.
Yeah, if I have 100 students, and those 100 students are paying me X amount of dollars per month, I can make a living. Holy shit, I can have this would be amazing. And then you see your jiu-jitsu school, and your jiu-jitsu instructor has all these students and drives a Mercedes, and he's got a nice family, and, like, that's the future. This way you're doing something exciting and fun, and you don't. Or you could just be playing fucking video games. 3 years later, you could be that same kid just playing video games, waiting for the next whatever the fuck game is, next Xbox game to come out, and you're gonna waste your time.
So there you have his hot take regarding video games and why I don't feel like he's completely off base here. Let me break it down. First off, do I play a lot of video games? Yeah, I do. This is my game room right now I'm in, but I'm also at work. I'm just taking a quick break from it right now because it's been slammed this morning, and I wanted to talk about this situation. There are some people out there that just play way too many video games and don't do anything with their life and look back 20 years later and wonder what the hell happened to all that time. So, yeah, in a certain light, from a specific perspective, video games, for some people that are not done in moderation, is a gigantic waste of time. But, I mean, that literally can be said about anything. Let me tell you a quick story. When I first started playing basketball back when I was in elementary school, my dream was to be in the NBA. And I played so much. I emulated all my favorite players. I lived in Boston, so I was a big Boston Celtics fan, still am. Watched them every night, tried to do the moves that they did, and tried to bring that to real life on the court during school. And then it went into high school. And I really wanted to get into the actual full-on team, and I couldn't make the team. I was only 5'8". Like, the people that were making the team were, like, all over 6 feet. So I couldn't make the team no matter how hard I tried, no matter how good I got at shooting three-pointers, no matter how good my defense was. I just couldn't make that next leap. And it took a long time for me to come to terms with that, but I finally realized, you know what? Maybe basketball isn't my calling. I'm not going to be a pro playing in the NBA or even anything close to that ever. So I need to come to grips with that. But I still love basketball, and I still played the hell out of it. Do I look back at those years that I wasted time playing basketball? No. I mean, it was great exercise. I made great friends with it, and I had so much fun. Some of my favorite memories as a kid was playing basketball. And the same can be said for video games. In a certain light, in moderation. The problem comes in, I feel like Joe Rogan has his mindset locked on that 35-year-old that still lives in his mom's house, that just orders pizzas all night and just sits in his basement playing video games all day, every day. And while that might be some people out there, it is the minority. And the problem that I have with this is on a gigantic platform that Joe Rogan has. I mean, I do watch him from time to time. I'm not just hopping on the hate train with him or talking about this because it's trendy. No, I watch Joe Rogan from time to time. I really enjoyed his Edward Snowden podcast specifically, but there are other things he's covered that I've enjoyed as well. But his take here is way too pinpointed on a certain person, which does exist, but again, that exists in every walk of life. There are people that watch way too many movies, people that watch way too much junk TV or soap operas, people that play way too much sports and don't ever go anywhere with it. That's okay, though. Like, that's up to them. That's their life that they're living. As long as they are happy with it, more power to them. I think that's where the problem is with all of this. Now, I understand where he's coming from, like I said, in a certain light, where some people don't realize how they're just wasting their life away with the video games and ignoring what their life potential could be. But maybe these people realize that they don't really have much of a potential in their life to do much of anything. And they've been depressed and they don't want to try anything because everything in life has not worked out for them. And video games are their comfort food. Some people look at food as their comfort food. Some people look at, like I said, other forms of entertainment as their comfort food because they haven't been able to be successful in other walks of life. I get it. It sucks. It's sad. It's probably a good reason why a lot of people that play video games are drawn to it because it's comforting. It's relaxing. It's like Zen. You can get away with it. Like meditation almost. But looking at what Joe Rogan said and taking it just on face value, it's unfortunate because the generic population out there that watches Joe Rogan that doesn't play video games will hear him say that and probably just agree with him. Be like, yeah, that is what video gamers are. They just sit at their house and play video games all day. No, they don't. I got a wife. I got kids. I got a full-time job. I do YouTube. And I also love playing video games. I also love getting outside and going for runs and working out and playing sports. It's all about moderation. It's all about a balance. Whenever you find something in life that's completely indulging you, like you are just completely overwhelmed by doing it, it's probably a good idea to take a step back from it because it's just not healthy. Nothing in life is healthy to do all day, every day, your entire life. Ever. Like, that is just the epitome of boring and depressing and just, it's not good for your mental health. I hear people in comments and stuff defending video games that it's good for their mental health and that's why they always go back to it. More power to you, not gonna lie. But at the same time, some people might rely a little bit too heavily on that crutch and video games become part of their depression and part of this spiral downward where they can't get out of the cycle and they keep playing the games and they keep feeling bad for themselves and not doing anything different in their life. And I think ultimately, that's what Joe Rogan was trying to get at. I think that's what he was trying to say is for those people, they are not going anywhere in their life and they just keep going back to, in this case, video games because it's their comfort food and they're not going to be anything in 2 to 3 years. He says that if you did jujitsu for 3 years, you could open up your own dojo. No, you couldn't. Like, you got to be good at it, which same goes for video games, by the way. Like, if you're really good at video games, you can open up your own YouTube channel and play them and people will donate money to you. If you can become pro and teach them lessons, it's no different than becoming an expert at jiu-jitsu and opening up a dojo. That's where he was completely off base with this. He was trying to relate video games to another medium where if you are a pro at video games, you can take it to a higher level now than you ever could before in the past. So that's where I'll disagree with him. But again, I think he was just trying to get at how he was relating this person that's not going anywhere in their life to someone who could be going somewhere in their life. And sometimes there's no hope for some people. Sometimes there's just no help. They just want to do that. They're stuck in their own world and there's nothing you can do or say to change their mind. It's their life to live. But it's sad because someday they might wake up and realize all this time they wasted doing that, they could have been doing something else, furthering their career in another area. But again, there's no guarantee that that would work out for them. Just because someone sits in their mom's basement for 3 years playing video games, eating pizza, doesn't mean if they went to do jiu-jitsu training, in this case, for 3 years, they'd be a black belt or however it works and open up their own dojo. It doesn't work like that. It's not a direct correlation. It's so wildly, completely off base that I'm just confused. I think it would be a good idea for Joe Rogan to invite a professional gamer on his podcast and have the discussion with him because I think he has a lot to learn about what the realm of video games have to offer. And maybe in that podcast, he could clarify what he was specifically talking about. And in a weird way, in a certain light, if you look at it the right way, this is motivational. This is him saying, stop just playing video games all day, every day. Get off your ass and go do something with your life. And from that perspective, I can't argue with them. I think that's an awesome, awesome take. It just came across the wrong way to a lot of people. I think if people look at it from the right perspective, it makes sense, and they'd be a lot more at peace with what he was trying to get at here. I'd like to think that cooler heads will prevail with this. I'd like to think he opens up to listening to people so that he understands that it's far more than just the generic dude in his mom's basement that play video games all day, every day. If I could, I'd love to, but I know life has priorities. I know I need to balance things. I know because I've learned, I've gone down that spiral before in my life where I played video games all day, every day. Hell, I used to be a game tester at Sony, and I used to play games for like 9 to 12 hours a day testing them, and then sometimes play them when I came home at night. And all day, every day, my life was video games. It was kind of depressing. It was like, I look back at that, like I had fun doing it, but it didn't really further anything in my life at that point in time. And I had to go through that experience to realize it. Some people don't ever realize it, or some people realize it way too late. And again, I think that's all he was trying to get at with this. I'm going to leave the video right there. Interested to hear what you guys have to say about this situation. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, you stay smashing.